Some very smart junior scientists are heading to Prince Edward Island next week to compete in the Canada-wide science fair. They dropped by our studios here at Delta TV to show us their projects. Shelby Brubaker of Nielsen Grove Elementary in Ladner will be flying to Prince Edward Island this week to represent Delta in the Canada-wide science fair. Winning gold in the South Fraser Regional Fair was thrilling for her.
Shocked and excited.
And what does it mean now that you're a winner?
To me, it means I've accomplished something really big that I never thought I would be able to do. And I get to travel all the way across the country, so.
Now, what are you hoping for when you go to Prince Edward Island?
Just to have a really good time and to meet new people and experience Prince Edward Island.
Shelby's science experiment combines the environment with local concerns.
The name of my project was Join the Resistance, and the question I asked was, does the different concentrations affect how plants in and around green slough grow? I had thought that it would affect how all the plants would grow, and I concluded that my hypothesis was both right and wrong. Here are some pictures of my observations. Here was day 1 of the marsh grasses and the beans and buckwheat. And on day 1, how they started off at. And these were some of the marsh grasses on day 7. These were the beans and buckwheat plants on day 7. And here's a picture of the beans and buckwheat plants on day 16, and marsh grasses on 18, and buckwheat and beans on 18. My conclusion was that my hypothesis was both right and wrong. It was right because the beans and the buckwheat were both affected by the different salt concentrations, but whereas my hypothesis was wrong because the marsh grasses were not affected by the different salt concentrations. And the reason behind that is because my research said that beans and buckwheat do not tolerate much salt, whereas the marsh grasses, although they tolerate some salt, they don't tolerate enough to live right on the ocean.
Gold medal winners Devika Vishwanath and Nadine Yahaya are grade 8 students at Seaquam Secondary. They both love science and are more excited to see PEI than they are about winning.
We don't want to win, we don't have to win anything. We just want to try our best. And the main thing is learning how much we can learn from the project.
Absolutely. Now, why don't you tell me how you came up with your idea for Silly Strums?
Well, we were inspired by the vibrating strings of musical instruments, so we decided we want to measure the frequency of the strings.
Now, do you play a musical instrument?
Personally, no, but she does.
I play the piano, and we were searching online what to do, so we came across this concept called the Sonometer, which is a machine which you can change the tension and the length and measure the frequency. So we thought we'll do an experiment based on the Sonometer.
Both girls see a future in science, and their talent for innovation should take them far.
The question of our project was, how does the length and the tension of a string affect its frequency? So we built a sonometer, which you can change the tension using the guitar tuning pegs and change the length using the 2 bridges. The app is a frequency counter, and it's used to measure frequencies. So when I strum the string, it'll show the frequency on the screen on the app. In our conclusion, we found out that our hypothesis was right, and when the tension increases, the frequency increases, and when the length increases, the frequency decreases, and also vice versa. And we have 2 practical applications for this project. The first one is if we have a table of all our frequencies, so if you use those frequencies, you can make your own musical instrument using the different lengths of the strings, so you would know what note to use. And we can also make a weighing machine using this. What we would do is we'd remove this, and we'll keep the length constant. And if you put a little tray and you can put an object inside and we measure the frequency, using our observations, we can give a weight for the object.
Nadia Williams of SFU sits on the Regional Science Fair Committee and will be accompanying the students to PEI. She says science fairs are a great way to get young people involved in thinking like scientists.
Certainly, it's an involvement in science, exploring science, seeing how science can prepare you for a future, how it works in our everyday world.
Now, the kids that we've interviewed today, I mean, obviously you know them and you saw their projects. Just how impressive are these projects?
They're really impressive. I mean, for myself, I don't see myself coming up with those ideas. So for students of that age, really great.
The trip is fully sponsored, so no student has to pay. And William says the week-long trip will be an education in itself.
Well, they're going to experience a variety of scientific and cultural events. So Prince Edward Island, it's the cultural capital of Canada, Fathers of Confederation and so forth. So they're going to have an opportunity to tour different parts of the island, understand our cultural history. But there's going to be a lot of scientific events too, science shuffle. They're going to work in the Atlantic Veterinary College. They're going to go to different science workshops on campus. And then there is the judging. So they're going to be for several hours judged by several different professionals in the science world.
Shelby's family is so excited, they've all decided to go to PEI to cheer on our Delta Junior scientists.